As a kid, I remember sitting in front of the television and seeing this advert. It was for a game cemented in a rich lore and community. That ad was for World of Warcraft, specifically the ad for Mists of Pandaria. Now, I was a pretty stupid kid, so the 2 brain cells I had left over from whatever strange stance I decided to sit in thought, whoa, Kung Fu Panda looks sick. But 10-year-old me was only really interested in 2 things. What I was having for dinner, and when was dinner. So I continued my life. At first, all I basically played was Destiny, and if you watched my last video, you know how that turned out. So I went on the search for new games, and on recommendation from a good friend, I tried World of Warcraft, remembering the Mists of Pandaria trailer from all those years ago. Now, the main issue I had with WoW was this: Shadowlands. As a totally new player, never having touched the game before, Shadowlands didn't seem that bad to me until later, because it was all I knew until that point. But eventually my friend said to me,
"You do know you can play the old expansions, right?"
So naturally the first thing I did was get out of the mall and made a new character. I spoke to this time-travelling gnome, Chromie, and I saw the option in front of me for Mists of Pandaria. Trying to relive the memory ingrained in my mind of cool Kung Fu Panda, I picked that one and started playing, and I really enjoyed it. And then I had to return to Shadowlands, as I'd hit level 60 from frolicking in the fields of Pandaria for too long. And God, Shadowlands was bad. There was like one good zone, and like one kind of okay one. And the story was kind of lost on me because so much had happened prior to me playing. The only things I knew was this guy was bad, this guy was important, and I wanted this lady to step on me. Around that time, Zereth Mortis came out, I think, and I ended up quitting after only leveling the 1 character I had, and that was that. So I drifted off and went to Final Fantasy instead. But Dawntrail sucks, and with nothing else really happening, I decided to give it another shot. Let's try WoW again. I want to preface this by saying that other than my time with Final Fantasy, which was brief, I have not played any other MMOs. Destiny 2 does not count. So this will be a real new player's perspective on the game and what I think its flaws are, its strengths, and everything in between. So let's start where every player started before me and where every player will start after me. Now, at first, I thought the class diversity was a little bland. It didn't seem too creative, and they were all just kind of cookie-cutter D&D classes, like Mage and Warrior. But as you go along the list, there is way more creativity in the classes, like Death Knight, Demon Hunter, Evoker. All really cool and really unique classes. My personal favourite is Death Knight. Massive sword, or dual wield, and ice attacks. 3 of my favourite things. But that isn't all. Each class has its own 3 subclasses that completely change the identity of the class. Looking at Death Knight, for example, Frost is dual-wield or two-handed, cleaving ice attacks, summoning dragons of ice and rending foes. Unholy is able to summon undead legions to fight alongside you while applying diseases to spread amongst a crowd. And Blood is a tank capable of using the blood of their enemies to fuel their attacks and have a constant flow of healing, which is unique compared to other tanks in the game. All three entirely different, all entirely unique, and all still a Death Knight. It's like this for almost every class in the game. Now, I will admit it was a little daunting to have all of these options, but overall they add a lot to the game in terms of class diversity, and they make those more bland classes much more unique. And now you've chosen a class and created a character, it's time to level them. Now, I am personally a massive fan of the leveling experience in World of Warcraft. You can just pick a DLC from Chromie and just go level there. Pick up quests and complete them. My personal favourite DLC to go to and level in is Legion, because I just really like Suramar. Now, when you level up, you will get a skill point for either one of your skill trees, and being confronted with so many skills can be really daunting. And I am so happy that there is a starter build option that will guide you through that process. Like, yeah, it's not optimal, but to gain a basic understanding of the way the skill tree works is a very, very welcome option. And while you're leveling up, you will naturally start learning your class's abilities and the unique skills from the spec that you've chosen. And the way they get slowly added to your hotbar, and you can read what they do, what they change, how they affect other abilities, is so satisfying. And it's really holding your hand quite a lot, but because it's you reading all of these abilities and you choosing where to put them on your hotbar, it really feels like learning a new skill and not just playing a game. And for me, that's super satisfying, and I think it's done really, really well. And you can do this all the way until 10 levels before the current max level. Now, this is where things get a little bumpy. After leveling in your chosen area for hours and hours, learning all you can and getting comfortable with the zones that you're in, you're contacted by Chromie again, and told you've had your fun buster, but it's high time you came to the current expansion. And so you're flung from wherever you were into the current DLC. And it's a pretty disorientating experience, but it gets worse. Thankfully, there is a cutscene for the War Within that you can watch to get a little context of what's happening, but the absolute bare minimum for you to understand the gist of what's happening. And there is so much left out. Why is this guy made of stone? Why can he speak to the planet? And why do I want this woman to step on me? Like, I know there are books and stuff that would probably explain all of this to me, but I don't want to go and pull myself out of the game I'm playing to go and read a book just so I can go back and understand what's happening on my screen. Some people might like that, but personally, I'm not about it. And leveling through the War Within is the same as previous leveling experience of just going through the DLC and doing all the quests, which I'm completely fine with, but I'd really rather it didn't pull me away from an experience I was already beginning to get attached to, only to thrust me into another experience that I need to get attached to again. And by the way, no offense to the War Within story, I'm sure it's great, but as someone that doesn't have all of the pieces of the puzzle, there wasn't a lot that I understood. So now you've leveled up all the way to the current max level. What do? Once you ding max level, congrats by the way, the game really opens up. The post-story content for War Within is available now, so you can go and get some decent gear to catch up, and you can experience Undermine, which is kind of its own little standalone story, kind of disconnected from the happenings of the War Within, and I love that. Undermine is a great zone, and the world building for it is even better. but I'm getting ahead of myself. For me, post-leveling content is all about collecting, because why do anything if you can't look cool while doing it? Pressing Shift P will bring up the collections menu, it's also found down here, and you can see almost everything in the game. You can pick out an armor set you like the look of, a mount you think is cool to go with that transmog. The world's your oyster. But what about getting better gear and doing difficult content? Well, there's Mythic Plus, a version of the dungeons throughout the game that have increased challenge with each level and increased rewards, and there's also raids for those that just want to fight bosses, and I'm sure the raids are great. I can't speak on them too much, as it's not something that I've done too much as of yet outside of Raid Finder, which I think is a great system, by the way. Now, personally, I'm really big into music, and the music of a game is really important to me, and World of Warcraft's music is absolutely, hands down, some of the best music ever made for a video game. The zone area music is always so fitting for the environment that you're in, and it only gets better with the more areas you explore. Let's look at Grizzly Hills, for instance. A sprawling forest filled with life, trees towering over the moss-covered landscape, the beaten down dirt paths. It's so peaceful, and the music really reflects that. It flows like a river almost, meandering and weaving a path. The clicking of the instruments almost emulating animals' feet pattering on the ground, birds placing twigs in trees to make a nest. It's so awesome. However, there is one track in particular that I want to look at. It's from the same expansion and is probably everyone's favourite track. It's certainly mine. This is Invincible. Now, I've never gone back and experienced Wrath of the Lich King like I did with Pandaria, but I may just do so at one point to hear this song, because my god, I don't know the intricacies of the lore of Arthas becoming the Lich King, or his story, but that song invokes something almost primal. It's in a language I don't understand, yet I feel like I understand every word. The song of a ruler, corrupt with power, finally being laid to rest. The music in this game alone is reason to play, honestly, as all of the music is so well written and I cannot give it credit enough. Overall, I think WoW, in its current state, is really worth giving a go. Maybe you're just looking to chill out, you get home from work and don't really want to do anything too taxing. WoW has options for you. There's never anything stopping you from leveling a new character and just leveling in a new zone or your favourite zone. Maybe you want to see what a real MMO is like I did, or you want to do the highest level of content you can. Go for it. Maybe you want to roleplay as a dude living in Elwyn Forest. Maybe you want to hit on the Frost Death Knights trying to get background footage. There are entire roleplay servers provided by Blizzard for that purpose. Yes, the free trial is a limiting factor and I haven't really talked about it in this video, but honestly, if you are at all interested in playing, you don't need to buy the latest DLC right off the bat. Hell, you don't even need to buy it at all if you don't want to. There's still plenty to do, so if you have the time and 10 quid spare, give it a go, and go with honour, friend.